Okay, we're here at the farm on the 17th of January 2019, and this story is going to be called Ben and Bernie Fall.
Yeah, this happened also when I was very young. In fact, with this first story about Ben, I couldn't even swim yet. So this happened when I was probably 5, 6 years old. It was on a Sunday, and one of the fun things that we would do was to go down to the canal, and there was a telephone pole that crossed the canal so that the next door neighbor could walk across that telephone pole, across the canal. It wasn't a bridge, it was just a telephone pole they would walk on and get to the other side to irrigate the land on the other side. Yeah, to work his water. And anyway, one of the things Ben and I would do we would take these sticks about this long, and we would dive them into the water, and they would come up immediately, and we would grab them by reaching down to pick them up as they came by from the telephone pole that we were out on. And we were trying to be very careful. This was about a half a mile or quarter of a mile from our house there in Meridian. Anyway, we found that if you buried them in the mud, that in just a week or less, and then did it, they stay under the water a long time. And that was the goal, is to see whose stick could stay under the longest. And then we would grab them and throw them in again. And that was the game that we were playing. And as we were playing this game, Ben reached down to get his and fell in. And he couldn't swim, and I couldn't swim, and man alive, to this day, I remember yelling, just yelling, running and falling about the same speed that he was floating. And he was floating head down. I thought sure that he was a goner, because it was a long ways, I thought, to get back to where they could hear me. But somebody must have been watching up to the land and could hear me yelling. And so Vaughn and Floyd, as the two, and Ronald I'm sure did too, but Vaughn and Floyd rushed down to where the canal goes underneath the bridge at the road there. Now, Linder Road, that's the name of the road.
That's right, Linder.
Linder.
That's from 2 videos ago, just so you know.
Anyway, they jumped in and grabbed Ben out and just pounded on him and gave him
CPR or whatever.
Yeah, artificial respiration. And pulling out the water and got him to breathing again. And but that was a major traumatic experience for Ben and I. And again, I look back now, and maybe a warning, because that's how Ben actually was killed, was with water when he fell from the bridge. Up there in Tacoma, Washington, painting the bridge. He fell to his death.
Yeah.
After he was a returned missionary, married in the temple, had 4 lovely daughters, and one of them only 2 months old, and he fell from a bridge. The others. Go ahead now.
So what? I'm trying to do the math a little bit. So Vaughn and Floyd were probably 16 or 17, and maybe 14 or 15.
He's 10 years.
So
Vaughn is
mid-teens.
Yeah, he's 10 years older than I, so he would have been about 16,
15, 16.
somewhere along in there.
Okay.
And the other story is about Bernie falling, and we were. It was a Sunday afternoon. I remember that, and I think we were swimming. I think, but. Anyway,
don't tell the grandkids. Kids, don't listen to that.
Anyway, we were. Was a great big poplar tree down there where the deep hole was, where the sharp bend of the river, the canal rather, down below our house, and that's where we would go to swim, because you could dive deeper without hitting mud or dirt and things. So. Anyway, we were down in that area, and there was a great big poplar tree in the pasture north of the deep hole, but still within the bend. And we were down there playing, and little Bernie loved climbing trees. Well, so did us. But anyway, he started climbing up in that tree, and he saw a nest way up there, and so he was going after it. And there's little birds in it, if I remember correctly. But he was reaching and trying to get it, and in the process, he fell all the way down the height of that tree, hitting branches as he came. And when he hit the bottom of the roots were exposed quite a bit right there where the bottom of the tree was, and he hit it head on and put in 2 holes actually through the bones, less than an inch above his eyes, both of them, and of course knocked him out. And anyway, if you want to see a picture of what it really looked like, because a few weeks later, maybe 2 or 3 months later, we had a special fathers and sons outing, and Dad was just recently home from 3.5, 4 years in the prison camp in Japan, Shanghai, China, and Japan. And we had this father and sons outing, and so he got all of us together and bought ideal matching shirts. And you'll see us all lined up at fathers and sons outing. Some of the pictures even with Wendell, our brother-in-law, Beth's husband, and his sons in that picture too. And if you look at Bernie as the youngest one in the line, you'll see that he has 2 pretty heavy scars right there above his eyes. And to this day, he still has scar there a little bit, so that it is noticeable. And that's what caused it, is this fall from the tree.
How old do you think he was? I'm trying to remember the picture. He was probably
looks like
3
about
or 4.
No. He's
a little bit older,
than that.
a little bit older,
He's
maybe
older
5 or
than that.
6.
In the picture, honey. Yeah, he's older than it. I would think he was probably 5 or 6 even. He's 7.
Yeah.
Okay, if he was that old, then that would...
Vaughn and Ron. Vaughn and Ronald and Floyd were in that picture.
Yes,
so Vaughn was still home.
Well, that would mean age 19 for Vaughn, and me then 9.
Okay.
I'm 10 years almost exactly than Vaughn, so I'd be 9, and Benny is 2 years, year and a half younger than I am.
So he's probably 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And Bernie's the one that fell. He's another year younger. So